seen a lot of progress. South Africa has also been hailed as one of the countries that has seen significant declines in HIV infections. You know, we've had in the last few years quite a comprehensive approach, working collectively as a sector. You know, combination of treatment and prevention of mother-to-child transmission, and of course significant declines in infections among young people. However, there are still those areas where we still have concerns. You're absolutely right that on the one hand there's behavior change among those young people who can change. What we see though is that young people do tend to continue to have sexual relationships with people who are significantly older than them and having sex for gain. In those contexts, we see that protection, they don't have the power to use protection. So they report using condoms a lot less when they are having sex with older partners where there is a transactional relationship. That is the area I believe we need to focus on. But you know, HIV risk is much more complicated than the result, which is the actual final having sex without a condom. HIV infection now is so much more about economic empowerment of young people, giving them hope, inspiring them, dealing with the helplessness that results from growing up in an unequal society.
As an NGO, just how much of a challenge has funding become, specifically within a very constrained economic environment where we've got public sector and a private sector very much under pressure when it comes to where they're looking to spend their money? Yes,
it's become a massive challenge. You know, just recently someone mentioned figures to me of in the last 3 years we have seen about 30% reduction in the amount of funding available to the NGO sector. A lot of it is funding that comes to an end from international funders, and so because of the global recession of the last few years, some of those funders, you know, have started focusing in their own countries. So we see a lot less money coming out of the country. In South Africa, we need to do a lot more to ensure that the corporate sector understands that they really are a part of this social pact.
If we cite a very real example, we've seen the Y Centre being launched, and that funded by VW specifically. What business sense did they see this making, and how much of a hard sell was it for you?
Yes, well, it made business sense for them. They saw it. They operate in the Uitenhage area. They draw their employees from the Uitenhage area. They understand that they have something to gain if they help to arrest the rate of new HIV infections in the community where they draw employees from. And so they invested in the center. This center also provides them with an infrastructure, visible building that demonstrate their commitment in participating as a development partner in the communities around them. And that kind of partnership is actually exactly the kind of partnership that loveLife is looking for. VW in partnership with VW SA in partnership with VW Germany invested a total of 20 million rand for loveLife to build the center as well as to run it for the next 5 years. I'd love many more companies to do the same.
Where a lot of those players need the incentive, what are some of the benefits that can be derived by the private sector?
Well, some of it is really strengthening their compliance to broad-based Black economic empowerment. I'm just coming out of a meeting, a press conference, announcing closing of deals in the renewable energy sector, where loveLife, as part of the broad-based equity partners, is participating in that. So more and more we're going to have to find other ways beyond asking for donations to sustain ourselves. But the corporate sector must see that we are that opportunity. The new codes that are coming out are focusing on broad-based equity ownership. We are broad-based, and we have the capacity to do that. It's also good for the brand of the company to be visible in those communities where we work. We understand those communities. We've worked with them. We get the best of the community in our and the partnerships is strong. The corporate sector can benefit from those partnerships if we could just come together in an equal partnership.
Grace, you alluded to it, but can NGOs become self-sufficient rather than dependent on funding?
Well, think that it will take us a very, very long time. In some countries, NGOs have reached that level of self-sufficiency. It'll take us a very long time. In an organization like loveLife, for example, where our running budget per annum, our revenue per annum is about 250 million rand, we need that to operate at the level of scale that we operate. You're not going to have any one funder or 2 or 10 contribute 250 million rand to an organization. We're also not going to develop the capacity to generate 250 million rand of revenue on our own. So for a long time, it's going to be a combination of government support, corporate sector support, as well as other sources of revenue that we can generate us.